It's a massive college admissions conspiracy involving some of the country's most prestigious schools, more than $25 million, and 2 Hollywood actresses. And it's all gone down here in Massachusetts. U.S. Attorney Andrew Laughlin announced the charges today.
We've charged 50 people nationwide with participating in a conspiracy that involved, first, cheating on college entrance exams, meaning the SAT and the ACT, and second, securing admission to elite colleges by bribing coaches at those schools to accept certain students under false pretenses.
The so-called ringleader, William Rick Singer from Newport Beach, California, pled guilty to 4 charges today. He's accused of helping parents bribe standardized test officials, enabling students to cheat and improve scores, bribing college officials and coaches, even photoshopping pictures of students playing sports they've never played and disguising those transactions through a nonprofit he created called the Key Worldwide Foundation. A former head coach of the Yale's women's soccer team, Rudolph Meredith, and a former sailing coach at Stanford, John Vandermoor, are also pleading guilty to accepting bribes.
These parents are a catalog of wealth and privilege. They include, for example, CEOs of private and public companies, successful securities and real estate investors, 2 well-known actresses, a famous fashion designer, and the co-chairman of a global law firm.
Among 33 parents charged in the probe are Academy Award-winning actress Felicity Huffman, who is said to have paid $15,000 to an SAT official to correct her daughter's incorrect answers, raising her score by 400 points. And actress Laughlin from Full House, accused of paying $500,000 in bribes to have her 2 daughters recruited to the USC crew team, even though neither actually rowed. Though clearly the stakes and pressures of college admission run high, price of trying to get in illegally may run even higher. Here to discuss it are Elizabeth Heaton. She's Vice President at College Coach, which helps families navigate the college admissions process. Beth, it's good to meet you. Thanks for being here. Peter Roby, former athletic director at Northeastern and former assistant basketball coach at Harvard. Peter, it's great to see you as always.
Thank you, Jim.
Are you surprised to hear, I wasn't, are you surprised to hear that parents are finding ways to pay to get their scores cooked on their SATs and those kinds of exams?
I have to say, yeah, actually, I found it pretty shocking. And the words that kind of were bandied about today was bizarre, unbelievable. We know that scandals happen and we've seen kids in cheating scandals, but the way that this went down was pretty shocking, I think.
Well, speaking of surprise, are you surprised to hear that coaches essentially are selling slots to non-athletes in athletic programs?
I'm really surprised, because you think that you're only going to get one crack at that before admissions and others say to you, you know, where are the kids that you put on your list? They're not on your team anymore. What happened to them? And you would know that the gig is up and not do it again. But I'm assuming it's happened more than one time.
Were you ever approached when you were an assistant coach at Harvard? You ever spoken to a coach? You used to run Sports and Society over there. You ever speak to a coach or somebody who knew about this kind of thing?
There's always been people that would like you to help their kid get in school, and they're willing to make a donation to the institution, but not, or maybe to your program, but not to tell you, I'll give you money if you help me get my kid in school. I've never heard of that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's a perfect transition. Andrew Laughlin at this press conference also said, a variation on what you're saying, we're not talking about donating a building so that a school is more likely to take your son or daughter. Why is that any better? Well, I mean, Charles Kushner, the father of Jared, paid $2.5 million, donated, to Harvard. Coincidentally, immediately before Jared got on the infamous Z list we learned about.
There's a lot of people that would suggest there's not a lot of difference between that, because you're still currying favor. The issue is,
and getting something you don't deserve were it not for this special pay-to-play kind of thing.
Right. You're getting closer to the top of the list is what they're helping you do.
So, you know, what do you, when you say, I mentioned in the introduction to you, Beth, that, you know, you help people navigate the admissions process. What does that mean in English? What do you do?
Basically, we're just helping families understand what colleges are looking for, and we're helping students put their best foot forward in their application. So, you know, helping them understand that, hey, if you write about that one time you volunteered at the soup kitchen, that actually might not be as interesting to the college as hearing about your passion for the Red Sox, or something else that you've done that matters.
Okay, so you're not crossing any lines, it doesn't sound like, at least as far as you're willing to admit to me.
No.
Okay, so Peter a second ago said maybe there isn't that much difference between a healthy donation, which may not be 100% guaranteed as opposed to paying off a coach, which apparently is. But how about that wealthy family that's able to say to you, hey, listen, my kid's not that good in the SATs, so is there some course for $10,000 I can pay for that's going to prepare him or her better to take the SAT? And by the way, the poor kid sitting next to my kid at Cambridge Rindge and Latin, where my kids went, they can't afford it, but them's the breaks.
Well,
I mean, by the way, there's nothing illegal about it.
Right.
There's nothing even unethical about it. It may be unfair.
Sure.
But why is that any better than this?
Well, I think in that situation, the student's actually going to be doing some work to prepare for the test, and the student's still going to take the test.
But doing some work that another kid whose parents are not wealthy, just like Felicity Huffman's kids, can't do because they don't have the dough, you know?
I mean, it's not ideal. It doesn't feel great.
It's one of the issues that we always dealt with when we were talking to admissions people about kids getting admitted to school, is because they were putting, in many cases, many years ago, putting so much emphasis on the standardized tests. And we were saying, but there are kids that culturally are not going to do as well on that test, are not going to get coached up, and you're going to make a decision on whether they're going to have a future at this institution because somebody was able to afford to get a coach to help them on the SAT. It doesn't feel fair.
So there are two levels of this, it seems to me. There are the things that are criminal behavior, and hopefully prosecutions like this will scare off other parents, sort of scared straight from doing it. But how do we deal with this mid-level thing, which is at least I think we agree, is maybe a variation on a theme?
I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we came on to talk about the indictments, because the thing that's really unfortunate about this is not just that kids that did it the right way that might not get a fair shake, but you're talking about perpetuating illegality and values that are getting compromised by parents of their own children to say it doesn't really matter what you know, if you have enough money you can get over, and they're sending their kids off to do things that are perpetuating a sham.
So, but we can't prosecute everybody, and we can't find everybody to prosecute. So what do we do? I mean, when you're talking to parents who want your help, when you in your former life are going to recruit a kid to go to Northeastern or to go to Harvard before that, and the parent says, hey, you two, hey, Beth, hey, Peter, I'm not convinced this is all in the up and up. I mean, I read what Andrew Lelling had to say. How do you assure me that there are not other scams going on that just are undiscovered yet? How do you answer those kind of questions?
I would say I can't speak for whatever else is going on out there. I can just tell you how we go about doing our business, and we're not going to try to get anybody in school that can't do the work, because it's not going to be fair to your child. We would say that to them anyway, that I wouldn't be here sitting in your living room recruiting you to go to Harvard if we didn't think you had a chance to get in school and do the work, because it's not fair. And as an athletic director, I would say to my coaches, don't come and bring me kids that we know are not going to be successful at Northeastern, because it's not fair to them to put them in that situation.
Are you 100% confident sitting here that you never had a coach who engaged in something like this? And maybe the kid was not a star, but the kid was maybe a bench-sitting kind of player?
No.
You are convinced
No,
you're not?
no way could I say that 100%. How do I know that? I don't know what conversations take place. I don't know if cash is being exchanged. I just know that I had coaches that I thought were of high ethical standards, or the ones that we hired, we tried to make sure that they were. But and that my not being 100% sure is not in any way an indication that I think anybody did. But I think we're all naive.
Understood.
I remember sitting at a conference, a panel, with a president of an institution who said on stage that she knew her coach was not cheating like the scandals that broke with the FBI.
Was he indicted the next week?
He's now been fired. They fired him because he broke NCAA rules. So they're naive to think that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that nobody's cheating.
So you were nodding in agreement. We only have a minute left. How do you cleanse the system to assure the next parent that most, if not all, of the game is on the up and up?
I mean, I think what you have to focus on is what you can control. You can't control that some people are going to game the system. I think most families are not all shooting for the most selective schools. I think what we focus on is you're going to do this the right way, you're going to be authentic, and you're going to have good choices.
And find the right fit.
Right. We talk about that all the time. And the other thing that we do to try to level the playing field is we have a free podcast that families can listen to. We do a blog. So we have what we do is offered as a free benefit at more than 200 companies all across the country, so that companies are paying for their families to access our services. And so in that way, at least, we're reaching out a much greater population.
Fair enough. Peter, it's great to see you.
Thank you,
As
Jim.
always, thank you, Beth.
Thank
Good
you.
to meet you. Thanks for your time.
Nice to meet you.